Welcome to the greatest phenomenon you will see today. Welcome to Tater's Sports Story. I am your host, Mashytater. We have a list full of action from this week 2 in the NFL. Also a huge injury report, which is not a good thing to see. But here we go. For the first game of the day, it was Bears versus Giants, and my prediction of Bears was correct. In this closely matched game, the Bears beat the Giants by 4 points as it was a 17-13 game. The Bears move on to 2-0 and the Giants fall to 0-2. Now these Giants did not look too good this week as Daniel Jones only completed 25 of 40 attempts and 0 touchdowns as well as an interception. The only man to have a touchdown was Dion Lewis, the running back. Saquon Barkley, the Giants' main running back, got hurt after only 4 carries of 28 yards combined. He has a torn ACL and will be out for the rest of the season. The Bears got the one in this one, but it didn't look too hot, as Mitch Trubisky only completed 18 passes for 190 yards, which is much less than Daniel Jones' completions, with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. It's not a good look. David Montgomery, the running back, however, had 82 yards off of just 16 carries. What a performance by him, as well as a receiving touchdown. The Bears really need to step it up if they want to win next week, as they have a very tough opponent in the Atlanta Falcons next week. We then head down to Philly to get some cheesesteaks and watch the Rams give a whooping to the Eagles, a 37-19 game, as the Rams improved to 2-0 and dropped the Eagles to 0-2. As I predicted, the Rams absolutely manhandled these Eagles, and these Eagles do not look good. They look like they're going to have a horrible season this year. As for these Philadelphia Eagles, Carson Wentz looked absolutely horrendous with 26 of 43 passes for 242, not a single touchdown in sight, and 2 interceptions. Miles Sanders was the only man working with this team, as he had 95 yards and a touchdown. If this Eagles team wants to place anywhere reasonable in the NFC East, they have really got to pick it up. Jared Goff had a whole 7 incompletions this week. An amazing game by him with 20 completions for 3 touchdowns and nearly 300 yards at 267. Malcolm Brown didn't have as much of a performance as last week, but he got a whole 47 yards, but Darrell Henderson, the other back, got 81 as well as a touchdown. Tight end Tyler Higbee was the man of the day with 3 receiving touchdowns.
One hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Yes. Though I didn't have a prediction for this game, I was absolutely thrilled to watch my Dallas Cowboys with a come-behind victory in the final closing seconds. The Cowboys won a game in which they had led in points for 0 seconds. What a game. What a performance by my Dallas Cowboys. The Falcons dropped down to 0-2 as the Dallas Cowboys improved to 1-1. Matt Ryan was on fire today with 273 for 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns. Todd Gurley got 61 yards rushing, and the man of the day, Calvin Ridley, the man of this Falcons team, had 109 and 2 touchdowns receiving. The defense was absolutely the downfall as they allowed the Dallas Cowboys to come back and win the football game. 4 fumbles in the first quarter is absolutely unacceptable, especially from a team like these Cowboys that are projected to be one of the highest powered offenses in the league. However, down 20-0, Cowboys brought it back up, limiting in both the second and third quarter the Falcons to only 9 points. They also were able to catch up and make the game look reasonable again. Dak Prescott had probably the best game of his career, in my opinion, as he was 34 for 47 with 450 passing yards and a passing touchdown, as well as 3 rushing touchdowns. Receivers CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper were the receivers of the day, as Lamb and Coop both had 6 receptions, both for over 100 yards. Everson Griffin was also able to get a sack on Matt Ryan, and Trayvon Diggs had too many dropped picks this game. We've got to play better if we want to beat Seattle next week. However, this was a very lucky game for us that we fought hard to come back with never say die attitude. What a performance by these Dallas Cowboys. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers came back after their performance last week to beat the Carolina Panthers in an NFC South division game 31-17. This drops the Carolina Panthers to 0-2 and improves the Bucs to 1-1. My prediction was for the Bucs to win, and it was another correct prediction by me. As for the Tampa Bay Bucs, it was absolutely a win from the defense. The defense was able to get 5 sacks on Bridgewater, as well as 2 interceptions. Mike Evans and Leonard Fournette played very well as well, both over 102 yards, and both getting a touchdown for each of them. Leonard Fournette got 2 of them. However, the most successful quarterback in the history of the NFL, Tom Brady, looked kind of bad, with only 1 touchdown and an interception for 217 yards. He didn't look like the GOAT like we're supposed to believe he is. With Christian McCaffrey having 18 carries for 59 yards and 2 touchdowns, he was definitely the fighter of this game, and it cost him an injury, as he may be out for several weeks, if not the remainder of the season. Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore had over 100 yards in receiving. As for Teddy Bridgewater, he had a nice 367 yards, but the issue comes with the 2 interceptions and the lack of touchdowns. Not a single touchdown for Bridgewater this game. Back at MetLife Stadium, the injury game of the day for these 49ers. However, they did win 31-13, also in my predictions. They improved to 1-1 and dropped the New York Jets to 0-2. It was ugly, but they got the job done. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the worst team in the AFC, New York Jets. Sam Darnold played horrendous yesterday with 179 in passing yards and only 1 touchdown. Frank Gore got the majority of the snaps, as Le'Veon Bell is out with an injury as well. 21 carries for 63 yards by the vet. The rest of this team just did not look good, and the defense looked horrible, allowing a backup team of the San Francisco 49ers to get 31 points. There was even an instance on 3rd and 31. The Jets allowed a first down with a 55-yard reception from these Niners. I don't know if these guys are tanking for Trevor Lawrence or just trying to get rid of Adam Gase. Either way, they look absolutely terrible. To add to the crucial player injury list for these Niners of George Kittle, we have an injury from quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, running back Raheem Mostert, a couple wide receivers in Brandon Ayuk, as well as another that was injured last week. And on defense, the Defensive Rookie of the Year for 2019, Nick Bosa. Absolutely ugly for the San Francisco team, and we will see how they bounce back. Nick Mullins came into the game and played fairly well. However, he did get an interception. Garoppolo, on the other hand, only threw 14 for 16 for 131 and 2 touchdowns. Raheem Mostert was on fire before his injury with 8 carries for 92 yards and 1 touchdown. And in yet another correct prediction by me, the Steelers beat the Denver Broncos 26-21. The Steelers improved to 2-0, and the Denver Broncos dropped to 0-2. Drew Lock was only 1 for 5 before he got injured and taken out of the game. Jeff Driscoll took over and completed 18 out of 34 for 256 and 2 touchdowns and an interception. Not bad for the backup quarterback. The running back Melvin Gordon has got to see the ball a little more. 19 carries is not even close to the number you want him at, as he only got 70 yards out of the game. And if he had more, who knows, maybe these Broncos could have won. Of the top 3 rookie wide receivers from this year's draft, Jerry Jeudy looks like the worst of the 3, as he only got 62 yards off of 4 receptions. Definitely not even matching to the numbers of neither Ruggs nor CD Lamb. Defense wins championships, and the Steelers definitely have, by far, a phenomenal defense, possibly the best in the league right now. They were able to pick up a whopping 7 sacks against these Denver Broncos, as well as an interception. Deontay Johnson, off of only 8 receptions, got 92 yards and a touchdown. James Conner had a great recovery from last week as he improved for 106 yards off of only 16 carries, also getting a touchdown. And Big Ben was able to put up 311 off of 29 completions for 2 touchdowns. However, he also did throw an interception, a crucial interception. Jaguars versus Tennessee Titans was definitely a very intense AFC battle. The Jaguars lost 30-33 and dropped to 1-1 as the Titans improved to 2-0. Minshew Mania is full swing, baby. With 30 out of 45 attempts, Gardner Minshew got 339 yards and 2 touchdowns. However, he did throw 2 interceptions, which were crucial. Running back James Robinson got 102 yards off of only 16 carries, as well as a touchdown. This Jaguar team is definitely making a big something out of a whole lot of nothing, as they were projected to be one of the worst teams. However, they're holding their own because of this quarterback. They could have won this game had those picks not been thrown, but those are improvements for next time. On the other hand, Derrick Henry was limited to only 84 yards off of 25 carries, which are not good numbers for Derrick Henry, as he normally is used to getting 100. From this Jags defense limiting Henry, it was up to Ryan Tannehill to win the game, and he absolutely did it well, with 4 touchdowns off of only 18 completions. Wow. Stephen Gostkowski made up for last week by completing 100% of his field goals this week. Those 2 field goals could have been the difference between a won football game and a lost football game. Tater Sports predictions are on fire at 7-0 as the Packers beat the Detroit Lions. This improves an impressive Green Bay team to 2-0 and drops the Detroit Lions to 0-2. The final score of the game was 42-21. Now, The Green Bay Packers victory is going right into Aaron Rodgers' hands. Everyone is praising Rodgers for this victory. However, the man only completed 18 completions off of 30 attempts. That's almost half, by the way. He did get 240 yards as well as 2 touchdowns, but the win was absolutely from running back Aaron Jones with 168 yards off of just 18 carries. Not only that, but Aaron Jones was able to get 2 rushing touchdowns as well as a receiving touchdown. Jones is the winner of this game, and he is also the leader of this team. As a Matthew Stafford fan, you hate to see him being limited so much, as he was only able to get 244 yards off of 20 completions from 33 attempts. He was able to get 2 touchdowns as well as throwing an interception. The veteran running back Adrian Peterson was held to only 7 carries for 41 yards. This Lions team just looked absolutely awful against these Green Bay Packers. Bam, and once again, the Indianapolis Colts helped me with my prediction as they defeat the Minnesota Vikings 28-11. These Colts improved to 1-1, and the Vikings dropped to 0-2. Wow. What in the world happened to Kirk Cousins? He completed 11 passes off of 26 attempts for 113 yards, and instead of touchdowns, the man threw 3 interceptions. Dalvin Cook, the running back, was limited to only 14 carries for 63 yards and only managed a touchdown. This offensive line is absolutely destroying the Vikings. It also doesn't help that they got rid of star receiver Stephon Diggs in the offseason. I'm sorry, but Adam Thielen is not as good as Stephon Diggs, and this absolutely proves it. As for these Colts, I loved to see Philip Rivers get 214 yards and a touchdown off of 19 completions. However, he's got to control the picks. He threw an interception, even though he has an offensive line, arguably the best offensive line protecting him. However, the coaches at Indianapolis refused to allow the picks be the cost of the football game, so they gave the ball to running back Jonathan Taylor for 26 carries and 101 yards for a touchdown. Do not count out these Indianapolis Colts. They are a good football team and they're only improving. Philip Rivers is not done yet. He has so much left in the tank and so much potential. Improving my predictions to 9-0. The Arizona Cardinals defeated the Washington football team 30-15, dropping the football team to 1-1 and improving the Cardinals to 2-0. Welcome back to reality, Washington. You're not playing the Philadelphia Eagles this week. Dwayne Haskins only being able to get 1 touchdown off of 230 yards off of 19 completions. He got the ball to Terry McLaurin, the player of their team for this week, with 7 receptions and 125 yards, also getting a touchdown. As absolutely in love people got with Washington last week, I predict more games like this week. The crazier part about this game is I don't think that the Cardinals even played that well, really. Off of 8 receptions, DeAndre Hopkins got 68 yards and a touchdown, his first as a Cardinal. Kenyon Drake was held to 86 yards off of just 20 carries, so Kyler had to use his legs and carry for 8 different runs to to get 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. I hate to say it, but Kyler was the player of the game, with 26 completions off of 38 attempts, 286 yards, a touchdown, but he also threw a pick. The pressure was on from this Redskins line, but as I said last week, Kyler is just that much faster than this defensive line of Washington. However, I refuse to already in week 2 jump onto the bandwagon of Kyler for MVP. Absolutely not. He has not proved it yet. There are much better quarterbacks in the running for that position. Now, let me just say, a prediction of an upset is not supposed to be a plausible one. Nonetheless, I did predict the Texans to have an upset win over the Ravens for my upset of the week, and the Ravens dropped me to 9-1 for the week as they steamrolled the Texans 33-16, making them 2-0 and the Texans 0-2. Houston, I believed in you. Come on, guys. You guys were a playoff team last year. Now you got Watson putting up 25 out of 36 for 275 yards and only managing 1 touchdown and an interception. David Johnson, the man you traded, DeAndre Hopkins for, only managed 36 rushing yards off of 11 carries. Come on. The best player you guys had out there was Brandon Cooks, who managed 95 yards off of only 5 receptions. J.J. Watt, on the other hand, got 2 sacks at least. Houston, we have a problem. Once again, another quarterback that I'm not huge on in Lamar Jackson. I'm still not that impressed. You beat the Browns and the Texans, both who are... Actually, the Browns are 1-1. The Texans are 0-2, though. They're not very good teams this year. Off of 18 completions, you got 204 yards and a touchdown. But you stole runs away from your running back. Both of them, for that matter. Gus Edwards, the backup, got more carries than Mark Ingram. And you had more carries than both of them, Lamar. 16 carries? Come on, give the ball to your backs. The defense absolutely manhandled the Texans, not the offense. Thank you. In another correct prediction, the Buffalo Bills defeated the Miami Dolphins 31-28. The Bills improved to 2-0. Miami falls to 0-2. However, though this loss was by a decent amount, do not count out Ryan Fitzmagic. Off of 31 completions, he got 328 yards, as well as 2 touchdowns. The Miami receivers didn't want to do much for Fitzmagic, so he said fine and got the ball to Mike Gesicki for 8 receptions and managed to get him 130 yards and a touchdown. Look, so many people are begging for Tua Tagovailoa to get the start. However, the man needs to learn, and who else to learn under than Ryan Fitzmagic? Stars aren't created by being thrown into a toxic team immediately. Stars are created from learning and becoming a great performer, a great athlete, and that's what they're doing with Tua Tagovailoa. Wow, Josh Allen, what a performance off of only 24 completions. He got 417 yards and 4 touchdowns. Phenomenal performance by Josh Allen. Of course, he can't take all of the credit, as Stephon Diggs has absolutely improved this Bills team. with 153 yards off of only 8 receptions, also getting a touchdown off of the deal. My other favorite on the Bills, Cole Beasley, with 70 yards off of only 5 receptions. This Bills team is absolutely in the running, in the lead to win the AFC East. The Patriots look hot, but the Bills look way, way on fire. And bumping me back up to 10 wins, 10-1, the Kansas City Chiefs actually barely in overtime beat the Los Angeles Chargers. This improves the Chiefs to 2-0, and the Chargers drop to 1-1. You guys know I absolutely love my homie, Patrick Mahomes. But 20 incompletions, buddy? 27 for 47? But he got 302 off of those 27. And 2 touchdowns, too. None of the receivers were on point, though. The best being Tyreek Hill with 99 off of 5 receptions and a touchdown. And Kelsey off of 9 getting 90 and a touchdown. Pat had to put matters in his own hands and rush for 54 yards off of 6 scrambling rushes. And of course, Harrison Butker, 3 of 3 for field goals, which was phenomenal, especially since in the very end, in overtime, he got iced twice and still completed them all 3 times. So essentially, he made 6, but obviously only 1 of those count, or 3 of those count, rather, in the whole game. But regardless, what a win by these Chiefs. A tough win, too. For these Chargers, what a performance. I've absolutely got to hand it to them. As rookie Justin Herbert, in his first game, got called as the starter about 5 seconds before kickoff and completed 22 of 33 for 311 and a touchdown. He also threw his first pick, but you know, it's his first game. That's okay. Herbert also rushed for 1 touchdown, and Austin Eckler got 93 yards off of 16 carries, which is not that impressive. The receiving core wasn't truly up to par either. It was really Herbert controlling this game and almost beating this Kansas City Chiefs. The final drive of the 4th quarter by these Chargers was a 10-minute and 28-second long drive. That's how you beat these Chiefs. Keep that ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. Great game by this Los Angeles team. This was a very great Sunday night game. But once again, Tater Sports is correct, as the Seattle Seahawks beat the New England Patriots 35-30, improving them to 2-0 and dropping the Patriots to 1-1. As for these Patriots, they impressed me. They absolutely impressed me tonight. The offense did, which I thought the defense would, but no, the offense did. Cam Newton with 397 yards, a touchdown. He did throw a pick though, but he also rushed for 2 more touchdowns. I still don't like seeing 11 carries from Cam, but you know, what can he do? It's Cam Newton. He's gonna run whether I like it or not. Wide receiver, future Hall of Famer Julian Edelman absolutely looked like a future Hall of Famer last night, with 8 receptions, 179 yards. Wow. He wishes he had those numbers with Brady. Those 2 absolutely carried the team on their back. Defense, even with a pick 6, you guys sucked. Honestly. Now this is the guy that I see leading the MVP campaign. Russell Wilson. 21 out of 28 attempts for 288 and a whopping 5 touchdowns. Even after throwing a pick 6 in the first drive, he still managed to whoop on this Patriots defense. Not only was it 5 touchdowns from him, but he got 1 touchdown to different receivers. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, David Moore, Chris Carson, and Freddie Swain all got a touchdown of those 5. Oh, and Metcalf looked phenomenal, even with 4 receptions. He burnt Stephon Gilmore on that touchdown reception. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Seattle is dangerous this year. Look out, NFC. The Browns helped support me as they brought me up to 11-1 with my predictions as they beat the Bengals on Thursday night, 35-30. Look, Joe Burrow. Yeah, you got 316 yards and 3 touchdowns, not bad, but you better have 316 yards if you're throwing 61 attempts and you only completed 37 of them. I'm still not impressed by the Heisman Trophy winner, guys. You guys might be, but I'm just not on that wagon yet. Also, Joe Mixon, you played horrible. I started you on fantasy football, and you disappointed me 2 weeks in a row now. I'm so mad at you, Joe Mixon. Baker Mayfield looked like the quarterback he's supposed to be, as he threw for 219 and 2 touchdowns. Nick Chubb played phenomenal with 22 carries of 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also, Kareem Hunt, the backup running back, got a touchdown in there too. Also, Odell Beckham Jr. off of 4 receptions, 74 yards, got 1 touchdown. Not bad, Cleveland Browns, not bad at all. I'd like to see you guys keep it up. And finally, the Saints dropped me down to 13-2 for the week as the Raiders beat the New Orleans Saints significantly, 34-24. Drew Brees looked like a shell of himself as he passed for 312, only getting a touchdown and threw an interception. The guy didn't throw a single pass over 20 yards all game long. Kamara was the guy that kept him in the running as he had 2 touchdowns off of just 79 yards and 13 carries. He also received 95 yards off of 9 receptions. That's better than any of the actual receivers did. Emmanuel Sanders dropped 3 passes, I think it was. Derek Carr looked like a rock star for 28 and 38 attempts. 282 yards and 3 touchdowns for the night. And Joshua Jacobs, oh man, 27 carries of 88 yards. He did great. He was beating on that Saints defense. Tight end Darren Waller played great with 12 receptions for 103 yards and a touchdown. I also liked to see the variety of people who got the ball. A total of 11 different receivers, including my favorite tight end ever, Jason Witten, got a reception by these Raiders quarterback, Derek Carr, last night. And I was happy to see Witten get a whole 3 yards instead of the 2 yards he got last week. Hey, look. Though I predicted the Saints to win, I was happy to see Las Vegas win. The reason for this is because I told you guys a month ago when I did my AFC rankings that the Raiders would be good this year. If this doesn't prove it, I don't know what will. This also helps my theory from last week of how bad the Saints played last week too. They just have not been up to par the past 2 weeks. They got the win last week, but they just do not look like a good Saints team for the first time in a couple years. I cannot give any other game the game of the week. Though I predicted Saints versus Raiders to be it, and it was a good game, and we had a lot of good games this week, and it had to have been the Sunday night showdown of Patriots versus Seattle. What a game. My dream offense for the week, the first dream offense of the week. I give for quarterback The best quarterback of the week was Josh Allen. At wide receiver, I give it to Falcons wide receiver Calvin Ridley, as he played all over my Dallas defense. For wide receiver 2, I give it to Stephon Diggs, as he and Josh Allen absolutely demolished Miami's defense. Slot of the week, I may be biased, but I give it to my boy CeeDee Lamb, as he was definitely the best receiver of the game for my Cowboys the other night. At running back, how can it not be the top back of the week, Aaron Jones? What a game. The leader of the Packers, absolutely. And finally, Tyler Higbee at tight end, as he was able to produce 3 touchdowns for this LA Rams team. For the second dream offense of the week, I give quarterback Dak Prescott. Now, I would have put Russell Wilson, but the reason I didn't was because the pick 6 was definitely what kept the Patriots in the running. That pick 6 was the difference between 7 points, and it was a close game. I mean, Cam Newton, if he was able to rush into that end zone, he would have won the game. So I give it to my boy Dak Prescott for leading the Cowboys to a comeback. Great performance by Dak this week. For wide receiver 1, I give it to Patriots wide receiver Julian Edelman, who played like a Hall of Famer last night. Wide receiver 2, Mike Evans, who played great for Brady. He was definitely the only piece of the offense next to Leonard Fournette, who was our running back, that played great for the Bucs. So like I said, running back Leonard Fournette. In the slot, Deontay Johnson, as he was the top receiver for the Steelers this week. He played very well and produced at a high percentage. And for tight end, I give it to Mike Gesicki. Look, if you don't know Mike Gesicki, you better figure out who he is, because he played great against a great team too. Ryan Fitzmagic produced so many passes to this guy, and he made so many yards out of it. What a game, what a performance by all of these players. NFL Week 3 predictions. Now, I was pretty on point this week. We'll see about next week. It's going to be tougher because there are a lot of tough matchups to pick here. But I narrowed them down and I picked who I believe the winners will be. So, for the first game, we have Dolphins versus Jaguars. I give it the lock of the week to my boy, Thursday night. My boy Minshew Mania is going to beat these Dolphins. On Sunday, the Browns beat the Washington football team. Patriots. I think Cam Newton is going to run all over that Raiders defense, and I think they'll get the win, but it's going to be a good game. However, not quite game of the week, because game of the week will be these Bills versus this defense that the Rams have built. That has just demolished both the Cowboys and Philadelphia. It's going to be the game of the week, but I give the win to the Bills. Titans, for obvious reasons, beating the Vikings because Titans are red hot and Vikings are red not. The Colts will beat the Jets. Cardinals over Lions. Packers are going to beat the Saints. Once again, Packers are red hot and the Saints just look bad. Upset of the week, I give the Giants over the 49ers simply because of injuries. Not only injuries, but also because of confidence. I don't think the 49ers are confident enough heading into this next week. Now, I did have the Eagles over Bengals, but then I overthought it and said, no, absolutely, Bengals over Eagles. Joe Burrow is going to get his first NFL win this week. Falcons over Bears. Bears will be handed their first loss. Falcons will be handed their first win. Steelers over Texans. 3-0 for Steelers, dropping Texans to 0-3. That defense is just too powerful for a team playing like how Houston is playing. Now, I thought about changing this one too. And I'm even considering switching this. In fact, yes, ignore that check mark there, because I predict, because of the fact that Justin Herbert won't be playing, I predict Panthers over Chargers. You gotta play your rookie because he's playing better than Tyrod Taylor, and Teddy Bridgewater is gonna get his first win as a Carolina Panther. So move that up to the Panthers because Panthers are winning over the Chargers. As always, I do not predict Cowboys games, but go Cowboys. Buccaneers. The defense is gonna demolish the Broncos, especially if they don't have their starting quarterback in Drew Lock. And finally, Monday Night Football, Chiefs versus Ravens is going to be a great game, but not game of the week. And I think Chiefs are just barely going to beat these Ravens, because though they played so bad against the Chargers, I really think they can pick it up. In just their short careers, Mahomes and Lamar Jackson have this little rivalry that goes on. And it's going to continue, and it's going to be a great game. And I once again give it to the Chiefs. The status for next week will be, I am not going to have a full Week 3 analysis. I will be out of town, so I will not be able to watch all of the games, nor be able to create any videos for them. So what I will have next week will be the predictions, the results of my predictions, as well as game of the week, offenses of the week, and week 4 predictions. I am your host, Mashytater, and I will see you guys later.